So welcome to another edition of The Buck Stops Here. What I'm going to talk about today is just ways that you can perhaps be better or even better at prioritising your time. My experience is there are no leaders I know who don't struggle with this. That's how much time you've got available to do leadership things once you've planned, prepared and taught, marked lessons and so on, and this is what needs to be done. And that's a challenge. In fact, on some days it probably feels like that. So how do we square that circle? Well, Amit Varma's very simple but I think incredibly powerful model I think can help. On the y-axis you've got what difference doing something is going to make, and on the x-axis you've got how easy it is to do. So I guess that top right segment is a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? It's going to make a big difference and it's easy to do. You're going to do that now, and you probably do those things first. But what about the bottom left? Don't make much difference, hard to do. Well, when I ask school leaders, a good proportion of them will say, well, I'll just do that last, or I'll delegate it to somebody else. And I kind of think that's the wrong answer, and so does Amit Varma, because really you need to stop doing it. Why would you carry on doing something that's hard to do and doesn't make much difference? Well, if you were flush with time, you would, but you're not. Sometimes that requires a bit of leading up. It might be a conversation with someone who's asked you to do it, or sometimes it might be to being a little bit less hard on yourself and not wanting everything to be perfect. The top left then, these are things that make a big difference but are hard to do. Well, what they need to be done is chunked into lots of smaller things. In other words, you need to create a little plan, because suddenly you've then got a lot of little things that sit in here. So planning is what's required for those, and protecting the time and keeping the discipline to then get things done in that time. And then finally in the bottom right, well, you might want to do some of these because they're easy to do and they often make us feel good and we can tick them off on the to-do list. But the key thing to watch out for is you're not doing those at the expense of those, because these are the things that really can make a big difference in addition to those. So I hope that's a useful little summary, and when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe just chuck things in those boxes, have a couple of conversations and you'll feel more positive and be looking forward to the future a bit more than you are when you started.